Kelly Bandelos here, kellybandelos.com. So today I've gone on to the next part of drawing a Catrina, and I've done the base of her face, and I'm going to look at, one sec, let me get back over to my video. Okay, so I want to show you the different layers here. I have finished her face, and I started a layer of a Catrina face, and here's her base face. And if you look on the page, you can see that I have layer 1, which is the background, layer 2, which is the base face, and number 3, which is the Catrina makeup. And I took it off, and now I'm putting it back on. So you can see you can do a lot of work with that. But what I want to do now with this piece, and I want to show you how to do this, is I do a lot in my personal work. I do a lot of mixed media. So I like adding on things and creating words, and if I was doing a mixed media piece on an oil painting, I would probably, what I do is I just gather up magazines. I have stacks and stacks of magazines, and I sit there and I cut out things that I want to use in that particular piece of artwork. So in this particular piece of artwork, I wanted to do you know, the flowers that go around the Catrina's head. And because the makeup on this Catrina is to the left side of the artwork, what I want to do is I want to frame her face to the left in flowers. So I've downloaded some PNGs, and I want to add them. So I go over to my wrench, and you could see there's the canvas. You could put a drawing guide on there. That's what I do when I'm doing like a portrait, and I really want to get that laid out properly. You could share this, and I'll show you how to share that. You can share the video, how that works. I'm going to import an image because I have some flowers that I saved in my photos. So I'm going to insert a photo. Let me get over to my photos. Let me do this one. I have some funny pictures in there. Okay, so here is, there. I'm going to put that pretty much right in here. And I don't want it to be so bright, super bright. So you could see this little wand. Okay, there's a wrench, and then there's the wand. Let's touch that wand. And that wand is looking at this particular photograph because it's on, look, let me look at this. Now we have more layers, and I have this flower here. So I want to bring that down a little bit too crazy. So let me touch hue, saturation, and brightness, which is the lower section. I just touched it. And now what I want to do is, you can see the saturation up there. I want to bring the saturation just down a little bit so it feels more natural color. Not quite so bright. I don't want to lose it too much, but I don't want it to be bigger, brighter than the piece itself. Okay? So now I've added that on there. Now I want to add some more pictures. Insert a file. Blah, blah, blah. Let's do some reds. And here's another one. These are all PNGs. PNGs are already pre-cut out flowers, so I want you to understand what that means. And I turned it, if you touch it with 2 fingers and you turn it, if you touch it with 1 finger, or what I use with this, it kind of distorts it a little too much. Don't like that. So let me just, now the hibiscus is a big flower, so I kind of want to have it, but I kind of am afraid I'm going to lose the cool hibiscusness of it. And I'm going to also bring the yellow flower. I'm touching the yellow flower now, and I'm pulling it in front of it. Okay? So now you understand what I just did. So let me touch the hibiscus. And I want to bring it down a little bit. And the hibiscus is basically doing that same crazy color that I did with the other one. And I want to touch the magic wand is really what it is. Hue, saturation, brightness. We touch that. We're going to drop that hue down a little bit too. See, that sort of brings it down. Now I'm going to airbrush on top of this a little bit just to pop it and to make it a little tad bit darker. So I need more flowers behind it. So I am going to insert a photo. It's only going to allow me to insert so many photos. See, maximum limit. So now that I've reached my maximum limit, I have to go up to my boxes, and I'm going to merge the yellow down into the red flower. So now those 2 flowers are merged together. They can't be unmerged unless you start going back. Watch this. Oh my gosh, I didn't want to do that. Let's see what we could do. Back. I hit the back button, and now I have 2 layers. So you can do that too. If you really made a mistake and you just didn't like how they stacked up and it wasn't doing what you were looking for it to do, you can back it up a little bit. So let's just keep adding on some flowers. These are great flowers. These are common flowers in the Day of the Dead. I want it to sort of go around her face a little bit. And you'll see, and again, I want to send that behind the hibiscus. So I'm going to take that, I'm doing this. So you can see the hibiscus just came on top of it. I'm going to move it down so I see it a little bit. Okay, beautiful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to speed along, kind of speed it up a little bit so that you can see the process. You'll see the loading up of the flowers and the way that it goes up over to this area just where the mask is cutting, and then I'll do something different with the hair. Maybe I'll have the hair wind up and around it. Let me just mess with that a little bit and you can watch. I'll speed through it and you can enjoy this really fun process. So I wanted to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you on another video how to take something, erase the background, and plop it onto your artwork as well. That's also a little trick that's done often in artwork. So thanks for watching. Follow me to the end of this one and we'll speed through to the next section. Okay, so as we're wrapping up the end of this piece, I just wanted to kind of go over very briefly kind of where we were with everything. As you can see on this piece, you know, I would do some more. I'm going to do some more to sort of tweak it out a little bit. But, you know, I sort of went through everything. I wanted to show you the different levels. Let's start with everything. So here's the base face, and I didn't do the side hair yet, and I might or might not. And then here's the Day of the Dead half mask put on her. And you saw how I added the flowers. I used PNGs, which I downloaded from the internet, but you can also, as I showed you on the one, I think it's a peonies, where it's got like a lot of spikies. That was the harder one to PNG, but once you put it on the page, you can erase out what you want. And then what I did was I made lots of copies of it, because that's really the flower that's used the most in the Day of the Dead pieces. So, you know, the wreaths that they wear around their hair. So as you can see, I have the right half of her face is natural, and the left half is got the Day of the Dead mask and flowers around it. Now, for realism, you know, sorry that that's shaking. For realism, I use this grayscale. When I'm working with a realistic thing, and this is sort of illustration-y, if you will, when you're working with a realistic feel, this is not quite the colors that it needs to be, but it's close to the colors that it needs to be. So let me just see if I can, you can see the piece, oops, sorry, you can see the piece that is on the page, and then you have this one that I'm gonna post it up next to it so you can see what it looks like. Colors are, she's more yellowy, but because the background that's been added to it is bluish, and I was kind of wanting to do that, that feeling of that, because I wanted to give the contrast. If I was doing an actual portrait, I would definitely add the more yellower tones to it. But because the flowers have so much yellow and bright oranges in them, I kind of wanted the cast of her face to be a little on the grayer side. Not that I wanted her to look gray, but I mean, if I was just doing her portrait, I would probably warm it up considerably. But because there's so much color over on the right, there's other things that I'm going to do with her hair, which I'll show you at the end piece. But, you know, I kind of wanted to, you know, just show you how I add things on in my Procreate. You could also do this with Adobe Illustrator, Corel Draw, and all those things. You can take these pieces, PNG it, and cut away things so you can add these things. But I like to do a lot of mixed media, and this basically has that mixed media feel to it. If I was going to spend a lot more time on it, I'm sure that I would had like probably put shadow lines from each PNG to the next, so it looks like one has been pasted on top of the other. I'm not doing that with this one, but this is just a basic idea of how this can go forward for you. So I wanted to show you this very briefly. I'm going to be kind of showing the in-between stuff on a later video. And also, if you go onto the Instagram, kellybandelos.com, you know, I'm going to show the whole full video about how it was done. But for here on YouTube, I just wanted to give you little tools and tricks that you can do to make some awesome illustrations. And I just want you to enjoy this portion of it. You don't have to be even a great artist. You can take a photograph and do things with it through this program. You know, I could show you ways of doing that at another date, but I wanted to show you the illustration-y side of it so that you could see things that you could do. You can add and take away, you know, that mask, and that's kind of a really cool thing to do. It's also an effects things that you can do. So you can show a picture of, you know, somebody in one way and then costume them in an illustration and pop that on at a later date. So there's so many tricks to the trade. This is just a fun thing to work with, an inexpensive app that you can purchase. It is, you know, not a lot of money to put on your iPad. It is probably one of the most effective tools that I've used, that I've personally used, other than, you know, illustration programs, which I don't enjoy using because they vector. I like to create my own lines. I'm an artist. I prefer using a tool to do my programs with. I don't want to use my mouse. My mouse isn't what I want to do with that. So I just want you to enjoy it a little bit. Let me just close this down. Oops, sorry. I want you to enjoy the process. I'm going to be doing more Procreate illustrations and show you how I do them. Thanks so much for watching all the series, and please subscribe for more updates and some more things that we can do together. If you have any suggestions or if you have any questions about how these things work, you know, just ask me down below. Definitely. Please like and subscribe. Thanks so much. Thanks for following me on Kelly Bandelos Studios. I have lots of social media on Twitter and Tumblr, of course on Instagram, on Facebook. Follow me there. I've always got shows going on in competitions that I'm in, so I usually post them on the social media. I don't post them on YouTube quite so much. But, you know, the Day of the Dead piece is in honor of the Day of the Dead, which is coming up at the end of October, and also in honor of the fact that I do have some pieces over at the St. Louis History Museum. So if you are in the area, stop by and visit them. It's kind of fun. This has been a really fun process to do it as a Procreate, because I usually do it as pastel or I do them as paintings. So the Procreate's a lot of fun. And thanks so much. Namaste.